Hello, and thank you for joining us for another Insight Tech Talk. My name is Erin Hazen, and I'm a Client Solutions Executive here at Insight. And I'm joined today by Rhett Livengood, Director of Digital Business Enabling at Intel. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Rhett.
Hello, everyone. And yeah, great to see you, Erin. We're still working remotely, as you see, but that's part of the topic we're talking about today. So, hi, everybody.
Super. Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. And I'm really excited to kick off this three-part series together where we will explore Intel's theme of Ready, Set, Accelerate. And today we're going to be talking about all things being ready with the dynamic technology portfolio for all organizations from SMB to enterprise with Intel. Are you ready, Rhett?
Yes, we are ready to go.
Excellent, excellent. So let's start off with talking about what everyone is talking about these days, being ready to go back to work, both in person and remotely. And I know that Intel has some eye opening statistics and exciting solutions to address this back to work readiness. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Rhett?
Yes. So, when the pandemic started, gosh, it's been almost 18 months ago. One of the things we did at Intel to get ready is we moved our employee base to more than 90% notebooks versus desktop.
Yeah.
And at the time, we didn't know about the pandemic, but we did know people were getting more mobile, and we were able to, or IT was able to deliver services, faster, cheaper, better in that way. Wow, overnight, the other big thing that we had to do to get ready was we had a lot of our applications were on virtual private network. Well, it's one thing when you have 70 to 80% of your employees in the office, where all of a sudden overnight 100% are at home, your VPN gets swamped. You probably remember the early days, a lot of companies, you couldn't even get email to run or anything to run.
No. Yep.
So we we had to bring in some extra servers and actually go online and actually double the amount of VPNs. And when you have over 100,000 employees, you can imagine what that was like for that weekend.
Wow.
But what we have done now is a lot of applications, including things like email, are now cloud-based and
Mhm.
don't need VPN, and allows you to really, our philosophy is really to get your office experience anywhere. So it's kind of work from anywhere. And I think if you have that readiness, whether it's a coffee shop, your office, your bedroom, your kitchen table, or actually back in the four walls of your company's space for you, you're ready to go and can be productive.
That's excellent. I know I certainly have established a car office that I take with me when I'm traveling around, and I set up
Yes.
my laptop. Yeah, no, you're so right. We have to be ready to work anywhere. So one of the most difficult things to address is, with a sort of that variety of people being in different places, is how do we address the inclusivity when you are having this mix of a hybrid work environment with maybe people in office, some people at home. And what is the Intel's approach to this from a technology perspective when you're leveraging these kinds of challenges?
Yeah. So in inclusivity, one, some awareness training is good. Whether you're, trying to be inclusive and you're all in the same place, or you have some people that might be in a meeting room at your corporate headquarters or at a sales office, and then the rest of the people are dialing in remote. You want to make sure that you pull everyone in, ask them questions, make sure you take note of who's doing most of the talking. And there's actually software that will monitor this now for you, so you can see who's participating and who isn't. Um, and a lot of these tools really help pull from the collective knowledge, whether they're calling in from home or they're actually at work. So I think using some of those tools that we have, and I know Insight has got a good suite, I call them collaboration tools,
Mhm.
is important. That would be number one. Number two, everyone really needs to look at their Wi-Fi. What do they have? What is it? A notebook? Is it a phone? Is it a desktop system? Wi-Fi 6 extended or Wi-Fi 6E is actually out, and people don't realize that they're like, well, I still have Wi-Fi 4 or Wi-Fi 5. I don't need Wi-Fi 6. What they
Hmm.
don't realize is if you upgrade or you have a newer device, the Wi-Fi 4 and 5 radios are better than the old Wi-Fi 4 or 5 radios. So I told people that Wi-Fi 6E is just coming up, but making some investment in your Wi-Fi and your router will be really good for your collaboration, and you won't have to apologize for things. If you'll notice in the background here, this is live. This is Wi-Fi 6E. You notice my head's not an egg, right? The background, I can move for. That's what if you have a an older PC with old Wi-Fi, you have what I call the egghead, the floating head syndrome. So don't
Oh.
have floating head. Work with your Insight team. You could fix this, and it won't cost you that much.
Well, I love it. And that's a huge challenge when you're trying to establish like a seamless conversation amongst a team. If, somebody is lagging, and that lagging often results in like side chatter in the office, and that's a huge thing that we have to all address, right?
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And I think, some of the inclusivity stuff, a lot of it's common sense, but some of it is really just making sure you call on and each person to comment on whatever the topic is. And I think remembering that sometimes people forget and they kind of, are offline or distracted. And those tools help. The other thing that we have done at Intel is we are expanding the amount of collaboration rooms. So of course there's the big board meeting conference room, and that's obviously for very important meetings. But these collaboration rooms now have very large screens, marker boards that you now, of course, with Teams or Zoom or whatever type of collaboration, you can actually interact back and forth with people at home that are maybe drawing on their PC. So that's another way to be inclusive. That some people like to be able to see or draw or touch and not just type all the time. So adding these in, I think if the team bought in and has them up there, it keeps people focused. And again, I think it helps with the inclusion.
I love that. I love that that ties so succinctly back to the theme of being ready, because really what you want to make sure, and I'm sure Intel, this is a huge part of your strategy, is that there is that readiness with the tools, with the knowledge, so that you can then go, right? And make some
Yeah.
big strides as a team. I love that. So, what are your customers saying? What are our customers saying about the common concerns around the hybrid environment? Is the security an issue? Are we talking about stuff like that? And what can we see or expect to see evolve in like the coming year around this dual state working situation?
Yeah, I think once people got settled, they maybe got a proper desk chair, and hopefully some of the companies might have helped might have helped invest in that, and they got some a decent microphone that's not them speaking into the into their phone, and maybe a decent camera and some lighting where they can see. One of the things you have to think about is security. When you're in an office environment, um, you don't usually have other folks, perhaps. I would say when you're at work, your security guard might be a little down. You're not worried that somebody's going to come by and steal your stuff when you go eat lunch, and um, you know try to break into your system.
Mhm.
When you're working from home, people get and forget about there are certain things that you need to be careful of. For instance, how many people are working on their home Wi-Fi network and they have not set the password? In other words, maybe your neighbors are using it, maybe grandma's using it. Nothing wrong with grandma, but it
Mhm.
might be good for grandma to actually put in a password. So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't have the regular password on. It's just like being in an airport. If you're going through a virtual private network, that's one thing. But if you're just going into one of these cloud apps that may or may not have the security turned on, and you really need to use the security tools, and they're very easy to turn on and use. You just have to be aware. The other thing is, in terms of being ready, we now monthly send out some um, some emails that are security breaches that are practice ones.
Uh,
And for instance, here we are talking with Insight. I could
mhm.
spell Insight, INSIGT, and leave out the H, and it looks just like the Insight emails. And you would be surprised at how many people click on that, and instantly their system is affected.
Brutal.
So just being ready and having people aware that, not every email you get is from a business associate or a person that you have to be very, very vigilant. And I've got, either it's through the phone coming in or emails. That's one of the number one security concerns. So being ready, we actually um, do practices. And I believe Insight has got some good programs. So they'll actually set it up for your company, and they'll be the bad actor and test out how security aware your employees are. And you would be surprised how many people sneak in. So those are, Aaron, those are just some ideas, I think, that people, whether you're at home or in the office or in the cafe, you just have to be careful, sending bank payments, sending contracts, doing business over the phone. You got to think about where are you and what is the security you have around you. And it just takes a little more thinking than being in the office where someone else is doing that thinking for you.
Totally. And to know that, you don't have to be overwhelmed because you are supported by organizations like Intel and Insight. Sometimes I think people get a little overwhelmed or maybe even like afraid of what that looks like. And that's what the bad actors kind of rely on, is that you're
Yes.
you're going to be, insecure just sort of in using those tools. So I really love that we, collectively have programs in place and support in place to help people navigate, just feeling like, okay, I understand what's going on here and I know how to protect myself and my organization. I think that's really great. So that's an awesome segue, Rhett, into maybe just talking a little bit about the partnership between Intel and Insight, and tell us a little bit about the experiences and relationship that we have.
Oh, yeah. Insight has been a partner of Intel's for a long time. Intel has big manufacturing site and lots of employees in Chandler, Arizona,
Mhm.
and Insight also has great facilities in Chandler. So I've been to
My
the
neighbor.
facility at Chandler. You guys have the big sales. I'll call it the arena. You have your big arenas. In fact, I helped set up at Intel actually had a little demo center in there back when people went into work. So that's been great. But I think a lot of the teaming that we've done in the last few years, which has been great, has really been pulling the Internet of Things and some of the new technologies into the client space. When you think about managing, PCs, we're talking about security now. It's interesting that a lot of workers, in addition to maybe a phone or a notebook or a desktop, if they happen to have that at home, or maybe they are going back into the office, they might have some other handheld devices. Maybe they're measuring
Mhm.
pressure or temperature, or they're out doing reads and stuff. And I think adding those devices and looking at all your collective devices together and managing those, this is a good time to do it, especially during the pandemic, when a lot of the security and software and online stuff has really gotten a lot more advanced. So I think that partnership on really being on the leading edge and pulling that technology in, we really enjoyed working with Insight in pulling those technologies together. And of course, we're coming up on some exciting times, at least in the client space. We've got Windows 11 coming out from Microsoft, a joint partner of ours,
Mhm.
and Insight continues to work with a lot of the leaders in the industry, whether it's security or manageability or collaboration, and all those continue to be very, very important. So whether we're together in Chandler or or remote around the world, it's been good teaming.
I love it. And we are so grateful for the partnership, just to know that we've got a significant and trusted relationship with Intel where we can go out and support clients together through innovation and through that development. It's such an inspiring, time to be connected together. And Rhett, I'm so grateful for your time today. Thank you so much for sharing your insight and expertise. It's extremely valuable to all of our customers and our teammates alike.
Yes. Well, thanks so much. And if you're not sure how to become ready, Insight's got a great and it's online. You can go through a checklist. It doesn't take long to really have you think about, are you ready from either working from home or as you go back into the office, are you really ready? So I would take advantage of that. And Aaron, it's been great talking with you and meeting with Insight.
I love it. Thank you so much, Rhett. And you know what? We'll definitely include that link in this episode's show notes. So definitely that'll be something that we include. And let me just take a minute to say thank you to our viewers for taking time today to join us. And like Rhett said, if you'd like to learn more, make sure you visit insight.com. While you're there, sign up for our quarterly digital magazine. It's called the Tech Journal. We're doing the Tech Talk right now.
That's right. I was going
Tech Journal.
Tech Journal.
And that's going to provide you with even more inspiration and insights around the future of business and technology. It is a free resource that we're happy to provide and love providing the opportunity for additional inspiration and education. My name is Erin once again, and it's been awesome today to spend this time with you. I can't wait to Tech Talk again soon. Have a terrific day.